It's Wednesday, October 28th, 2020. A lot to talk about this evening. What a disaster on Wall Street today. Markets across the board slammed. Dow Jones down 943 points. What we are watching, ladies and gentlemen, is not normal. This type of volatility, I think we've lost nearly 2,000 points this week on the Dow Jones. Yet we've been told about the V-shaped recovery, the trillions of dollars injected into these markets, all this stimulus, all these promises, and look where we are at today. Dow Jones down 943 points. Now, many of you may not care about these markets. Many of you are not in these markets. Most of you probably care more about where your job is. Are you going to return to a job? Can you find a job? Is your unemployment going to last? Are you going to get a stimulus check? But I bring up the stock market today because so much revolves around it. You know, when we turn on the television, the television tells us that nothing else matters. The job market, we're going to get the new job numbers tomorrow. They're probably going to be horrific, but nothing really seems to matter when I turn on the television, other than how well the stock market is doing. We've been told about this V-shaped recovery. We've been told about how great the stock market is doing. The stock market got absolutely hammered today. We're watching the economy sink deeper and deeper into a depression. People argue that that can't happen because the stock market's too strong, it's going up too fast. And here we are today, and the stock market got absolutely annihilated. Everybody believes as long as the stock market's doing well, everything is okay. Well, now what do you say when you witness this type of volatility? This type of volatility is not normal. This is telling you and I something, that something is very wrong. The trillions of dollars that was injected into these markets is not working. The 0% interest rates is not working. The tens of millions of people without a job is not working. The V-shaped recovery is not working. So, you know, to the people invested in these markets, be very, very cautious, because I truly believe, as I've always said, if you spend a second too long at the poker table, you're going to lose it all. I hope that if you've made money in these markets, I hope you're pulling out some of the profits out of these markets and investing in real assets. But again, watching what is transpiring is not normal. This could get much worse. I looked at the Dow futures. They're up 103 this evening, but who knows what we're going to wake up to tomorrow. Anything can happen. Remember, these economies are all connected globally. If a bank blows up in Europe, we're in big trouble tomorrow. If a bank blows up in the US, the world's in big trouble. Everything is interconnected. You know, when I watch what's happening, I watch how fast it can happen, how quick. 2,000 points is just vaporized right out of the Dow Jones in a matter of a few days. Look, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. This thing could bounce back 1,000 points. We've seen this happen many, many times. Again, all this is not normal, and this is why you have to be very, very cautious about what is taking place here. Make sure that, you know, you're holding some assets that you can get to. When I witness what I witnessed today, how quick this whole thing can come tumbling down. And remember, they're doing everything they can to keep everything stabilized, to keep everything up, to keep the patient alive. When I watch this, and I just think to myself, all of the fake optimism, the 0% interest rates, the trillions of dollars injected into these markets, all of the economists telling us that everything's going to be okay, the V-shaped recovery, everything's going to be okay. But how can this happen? How can we lose 943 points on the Dow Jones today if everything is okay? Of course, we can blame it all on the infection that's been around, 8 months now. That's actually driven these markets up. But now this infection's driving the markets down. Look, that has nothing to do with it. These markets don't care about infections. They don't care about unemployment, which we will get the unemployment numbers, the jobless numbers tomorrow. These markets don't care. It's going to have nothing to do with these markets. These markets don't care about the real economy. They don't care about you or I. What they care about is when the Fed is going to inject a lot more money into them, when the next stimulus is going to be passed. That's all they care about. It's all about manipulation. It's all an illusion. The Ponzi scheme is going to come to an end sooner or later. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, all bubbles pop. and we are going to see some really big bubbles pop here. Is this the beginning of a stock market crash? I don't have the answer to that. But what I do know is it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. This thing could start crashing tomorrow. It may have already begun. I don't have the answer. But when I see what's happening, like you do, it makes me take precautions. And today, and I'm just sharing with all of you what I did today, and this is not financial advice. I'm not telling any of you to do what I do. I'm just sharing with you what I believe is right. Sitting around and hoping that things are going to get better is not going to fix the situation. Hope is not going to cash any checks here. Hope is not going to fix the massive debt and deficits here, the corruption, the manipulation of these markets. It's not going to fix it. You're going to be responsible for you, and you need to take sole responsibility for you and your future. And if you continue to gamble at this roulette wheel here that we have, or this poker table we call the stock market, this massive Ponzi scheme, sooner or later, people are going to stay a second too long and gamble a little too much, and they're going to get completely obliterated here, in my opinion. Greed is a killer, and people have been just feeding off of this Ponzi scheme that has been fed by the Federal Reserve for years now. And they believe it's indestructible. They believe that they can't lose, that the Fed will just step in and fix it. Well, at some point, those injections just don't have the same effect on the patient. The medicine begins to wear off, and that's, I believe, what we're seeing right now. The medicine is wearing off. They're going to have to inject more and more and more to get the same result. Look at all the money that's been injected, all this fake optimism, all this manipulation, and look where we're at today. Dow Jones down 943 points, while the real economy slips deeper and deeper into a depression. So what did I do today? I did the best that I could to protect myself, protect my wealth. Look, I work extremely hard for my money. And I take my time to make these videos to try to wake up everybody that I can. I feel like I have a duty to America to sound an alarm and wake everybody up. You don't have to listen to me, but I think at least pay attention to some of the warning signs out there, and hopefully you will wake up and protect yourself. What I did today was I bought more precious metals. I went to SD Bullion, a company that hundreds of you recommended to me over a year ago. SD Bullion, I have a link down below. I don't own SD Bullion. I don't own a gold mine or a silver mine, but I am a client of SD Bullion. And I know many of you are. You recommended SD Bullion to me, and I've been a client ever since. Link down below. You can go to that link if you want. You can buy gold, you can buy silver. Or you cannot buy gold or silver, or you can go to your pawn shop and buy gold and silver. You can go to your jewelry store and buy gold and silver. You can go to your favorite coin dealer, coin shop, or your favorite coin dealer online. I don't care where you buy your gold or your silver. What I do care about, though, as an American to an American, is that you are protecting yourself. It doesn't just mean owning gold, owning silver. You better have food, you better have water, you better be able to protect it. You better have a good network of people around you, maybe a good church, people that bring something to the table. A lot of people have friends that just mooch off of them, take advantage of them, want something but never give something back. We better be very careful with the people we surround ourselves with. Are your friends bringing something to the table? Do they offer you something? The person you're dating, do they offer you something? A lot of people have their hands out, and when times get bad, they disappear. So one of the best assets you can have, along with the food, the water, the protection, the financial assets, is a great network of friends and family. Look, we have family members that are completely worthless, that bring nothing to the table, mooches, have their hands out. We all have those type of people. We have friends like that. And I've lost a lot of friends over the last couple of years because I've woken up and they didn't want to wake up. They wanted to keep drinking the Kool-Aid. They wanted to continue to be zombies. And, hey, we all have choices to make. But right now, we all need to be critically thinking about who we're surrounding ourselves with, what kind of assets we have, what kind of necessities do we have right now going into what we are heading into. We are heading into an economic collapse. I'm not here to predict with a crystal ball when that's going to happen. But again, it's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when, ladies and gentlemen. And when I watch what I watched today transpire on Wall Street, it is another reminder, a reinforcement of why you better be preparing. So if you're looking for gold or silver, check out the SD link down below, or go to your favorite coin dealer, online dealer, pawn shop, whatever. But I think now is one, if not the most important time to make sure that you have some real assets like gold and silver, which are extremely cheap. They got hit today. Buy the dip. They always tell you to buy the dip. Buy what everyone is ignoring right now, gold and silver. I'll tell you who's not ignoring it. China's not ignoring it. India's not ignoring it. Russia's not ignoring it. And a majority of central banks around the world are not ignoring gold and silver. They are stockpiling it. You need to start thinking like the Warren Buffetts. You need to start thinking like the central banks. You need to start thinking like the elite. They are protecting themselves with real assets. Cut out the mochas, cut out going out to dinner, go buy yourself some silver today. U.S. debt clock, I looked at that today. I'm not sure if you can see that. We are blown. I mean, when you look at this, this is an absolute nightmare. If you really look at this, you won't be able to sleep tonight. It is so shocking, the amount of debt. We are blowing past $27 trillion, 200 trillion, nearly 200 trillion with Medicare and Medicaid unfunded liabilities. If this isn't enough reason of why you need to be protecting yourself, I don't know what is. You are in a coma if you cannot see what is happening. Again, what we saw today, what we saw yesterday, what we are seeing transpire in these markets is another reminder of preparation. It is reinforcing why you must be protecting yourself, why you must own assets. And we could get into the pressure that is going to come upon every paper currency in the world. Look, it is a race to the bottom. I talked to somebody at my gym today, very worried about cash. They've got some cash, they're worried about it. If you're worried about holding too much cash, then you need to go buy some precious metals. I talked to a very good friend of mine in the legal field, and he called me today. He's going to his bank, he's pulling out cash, and he went and bought some more gold today. And that's another thing too. My concern is the banks. I've noted this many times in past videos, going to a local bank here, Bank of America, a Chase, temporarily closed for 2 weeks, temporarily closed for 48 hours. ATMs shut down. Many of you have written down below in the comments, ATMs closed, your bank's closed temporarily. What is going on? And this really concerns me when we start watching these markets getting rocked and the banks are not in as good a shape as you are being told. And my fear is when all hell breaks loose and things really implode in these financial markets, what happens when we start seeing people running to the banks or electronically pulling money out of the bank and transferring it into other accounts, what have you? We saw an electronic bank run take place in 2008 with trillions of dollars. What if they lock that all down? What if you can't get to your ATM, it's shut down, your bank is closed for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you can't access money. What are you going to do? And if we start seeing real serious problems with the dollar, as we're going to see with many of these paper currencies across the globe, what happens when you just don't have purchasing power? Again, I'm not telling anybody what to do here, but I think diversification is very, very important. You need to be holding some real assets here. CNBC, as Washington delays stimulus, the Fed is running out of ways to help the economy. So what are they going to resort to? They're going to resort to the only things they know. That's printing more money, debasing your purchasing power. They're going to keep rates low. We may even see rates go negative, even though people said that that could never happen. They said we would never go to zero, and here we are at zero. They will buy more treasuries. They will buy more mortgage-backed securities. They will buy everything. They are the buyer and lender of last resort. Here's where we're living in. We're in the twilight zone, ladies and gentlemen. The Fed now is going to have to go in and buy everything. How long is this going to last? How long can they keep everything propped up if they're the buyer and seller or buyer and lender of last resort? If we're going to be reliant on the Fed to come in and buy everything, there's going to be a huge price to pay here. They're going to own everything, and your dollar is going to buy nothing. A loaf of bread will be $100. So there's going to be a huge price to pay here if the Fed plans on buying everything, debasing our currency. They will just absolutely blow up the entire system. So it's going to be very scary times here shortly in America. And look, if you're not concerned right now, you must be asleep. To see tens of millions of people out of work, to see so many businesses, small, medium, that are never going to return. This is a massive wealth transfer. We're seeing the Targets and the Walmarts and the Costcos and the big box stores and the big restaurant chains open for business, while the little guy is being shut down, while the little guy can only do takeout or dining outdoors. And, I was reading an article yesterday. Illinois, the state of Illinois, is shutting down indoor dining again. So now what do they do as temperatures are in the 30-degree area, I believe? So who's going to dine outside for lunch or dinner or breakfast in 30-degree temperatures? They're going to be probably seeing snow probably within the next 30 days. So these restaurants are going to be in very, very big trouble back east, Midwest, Northeast, big trouble. So again, a wealth transfer unlike we've ever seen, and people, for the most part, are absolutely oblivious. Here's another story on the hedge. Americans race to supermarkets to buy food. Now, they're worried about this infection, and so this is going to put more pressure on the grocery stores. It's going to put more pressure with food purchases. You add this kind of fear now with this infection on top of what's happening on Wall Street. This is an absolute recipe for disaster. I mean, this is, we might as well just call it the perfect storm. The economy imploding, Wall Street imploding, and now everyone with this fear, afraid to go out, afraid to spend money, afraid to travel. We look at the hotel industry, absolutely obliterated. Unbelievable. Here's an article in Wall Street Journal. U.S. states face biggest cash crisis since the Great Depression. Nationwide, the U.S. state budget shortfall from 2020 to 2022 could amount to about $434 billion, according to Moody's Analytics. We look at states like New Jersey. They're expecting a loss of $5 billion in revenue in 2021. $5 billion. So many people exiting New Jersey, Illinois, New York, California. You look at the billions of dollars in revenue decline on top of the massive debt that they already have. So here in my area, right here, just in this little area of Coachella Valley, I can't even imagine the hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars that we're going to lose in conventions and tourism, in property sales, property tax. It's going to be a disaster. Oil prices have tumbled, affecting energy industries in Texas, Oklahoma, Alaska, etc. So we're going to see huge revenue declines all over America. And on top of that, people are just going to be so afraid to leave their house. They're just not going to go out and spend. We're seeing mall closures, historical mall closures. Tourism has plunged in Florida, Nevada, and Hawaii. People are broke. They don't have money. Many people are too scared to leave. Hawaii is expecting less than half the visitors it took in last year. Casino closures have hurt Illinois, New York, Rhode Island, and let's not forget the devastation that has taken place in Las Vegas. And we still are, I see nobody talking on the television. I watch these business shows. I watch these analysts. I watch these economists. Why isn't anybody talking about the 4 million homes in forbearance? Why isn't anybody talking about these rent moratoriums expiring this coming January? What kind of pressure is this going to put on these states? What kind of homelessness are we going to see in 2021? And with all this homelessness, you're going to see a lot of crime rising in America. You're going to see desperation, disparity, suicide rates going through the roof, domestic abuse going through the roof, pharmaceutical drug use going through the roof. And then we have to take into account all these states, obviously, that are going to go broke over all this. And what does that mean? It means massive unemployment for state workers. We're going to see thousands and thousands and thousands of state workers laid off, furloughed. This thing could get very, very ugly. And it's not a matter of if, ladies and gentlemen, it is a matter of when. It has already begun. The bubbles are already beginning to burst. Take a look around. Again, it just boggles my mind where we're at. We didn't want to deal with this back in 2008. So here we are in 2020, nation divided, political uncertainty, economic uncertainty, massive debts, massive deficits, wealth inequality, opportunity inequality. We're not manufacturing anything here. Americans love to consume. We have a country now that has gotten so lazy, so obese, so dumbed down, so addicted to pharmaceuticals, so addicted to illegal drugs, so addicted to reality TV, cartoons, Netflix. And while all this is taking place, America falls deeper into a depression, and Americans are going to wake up one morning and they're going to realize that they've been wiped out, that their pensions are wiped out, they have nothing to fall back on, they have no wealth, no net worth, no savings, no retirement, no nothing. People are going to wake up and find out that their 401ks have been destroyed, that those stocks that they had in the stock market were vaporized. They're just pieces of paper, ladies and gentlemen. You know, people talk about what they have on paper, but they're not holding anything in their hands. Oh, I have this much in my 401k. I have this much in the stock market. I have this much in my pension. But you don't have any of it. You have none of it. At least if you're holding some gold and some silver, you're holding it right now. You know, as gold and silver got hit today, I didn't even care. I bought more. And I work hard. But what I'm doing is I'm not going out and blowing it on toys or vacations. I'm not blowing it in some fantasy land that I believe that in 2021 everything is going to be okay, so I should just go out and spend my savings, spend my hard-earned money on things today. I'm preparing for the worst economic collapse that the world has ever seen. It's already begun. And even though the metals have gotten slammed lately, I'm holding them. I can get to them. I can access them. What's the guy going to do who's holding a piece of paper or holding his entire savings in a bank? What happens when all that closes down? What happens when we see a massive haircut on Wall Street and those stocks get ripped in half or worse? People aren't holding any of this. It's all on paper. It's a dream. And until you're holding it, you don't own it. So if you don't hold it, you don't own it. So make sure that you're at least diversified enough and protecting yourself with some real assets. And that could be a good piece of land that is raising cattle if you have the means to do that. That could be a big garden if you have the time and the means to do that. For the most part, people don't have the means or the ability to go out and buy a farm, raise cattle, take care of a giant garden, and do all that. I understand that. I don't have the time to do that. So that's why I have to be very picky with the assets that I pick. And the two most undervalued assets are, in my opinion, gold and silver. And that's why I buy them. Yeah, I do have some mining stocks. That's a gamble. But if you're not willing to lose that money, you shouldn't be gambling. But unfortunately, a lot of people are forced to gamble in these markets because they're earning zero or negative at their bank. They're forced into these markets because there's no other option. And especially if you're an older person, when this thing gets creamed, and it will, and you're 65, 70 years old and you've got to start over, I mean, ask yourself, what are you going to do? You know, I'm going to close with this video on this beautiful evening here in Palm Desert. Sun's going down. Be cautious, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not telling you to get everything, to pull everything out of the stock market. I'm not telling you to cash in your 401ks. I'm not telling you to do anything because I do not give financial advice. What I am telling you to do is be very awake and aware of what's going on and be extremely cautious. Paper is paper. Metal is real. Anything that you can hold in your hand today that has value is an asset. So be very, very cautious. A lot of people are putting their whole life savings, their whole future in paper. And my biggest concern is we're going to wake up one day. Today's nothing. 943 points, that's nothing. We haven't seen anything yet. Wait till the market starts coming down 1,500 points, 2,000, 3,000 points in a day. Then that's going to get people's attention. And everybody's going to be heading for the exits. Everybody's going to be selling, but nobody's going to be buying. Prices of gold and silver are going to go through the freaking moon. And at that point, the premiums, the availability, it's going to be hard to get, and the premiums are going to be sky high. So I'm going to leave you with this. Don't wait for that day. Don't wait for the emergency. Don't wait for the ship to sink. Make sure that you have a life raft right now. You have the opportunity, if you have the means to do it, I would highly recommend, not telling you, not giving you advice, but I would recommend to go get yourself some gold and some silver. That's what I'm doing. And look, it's never been worth zero. And if it never goes up, well, great. That means that things have calmed down. Remember, be careful what you wish for. Everybody is going, oh yeah, gold's going to go to 5,000, 10,000, 15,000, and it very well may. But remember what comes with that. If you see $10,000, $15,000 gold, if you're seeing $100, $500 silver, America is going to be a very, very scary place. It's already getting very scary. But at that point, you're going to be fearful to even leave your house. So careful what you wish for. Honestly, I'd rather see prices stay right where they're at and things just normalize and calm down. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We are going to see prices in the metals that are just going to be unheard of, that we thought were just rumors, pipe dreams. It's going to happen. It is going to happen. All the signs are there. Everything is pointing. All you have to do is connect the dots. You cannot continue to destroy currency like this. You cannot continue. This debt and these deficits are unsustainable. The world was taken off the gold standard by America. The world is going to put America back on the gold standard. I'm going to leave it there. Have a wonderful evening. We'll keep an eye on these markets. Hopefully things rebound a little bit tomorrow. But I think tomorrow is going to tell us a lot. We'll see what happens. Be cautious. Be careful. Be walking close to God. God bless all of you.